How to manage conflict as a leader. I'm going to give you 5 specific steps, tried and true, that will help you through this. When we can live life on our terms, on a holistic level, taking into account not just our business lives, but also our health, all of our relationships, from friends, family, partners, the world changes. All right, so first off, the fact that you're checking this out and you want to learn how to manage conflict better, right on, good for you. I've worked with leadership teams, individuals, organizations, literally all over the world for over 30 years. And in conflict, I think I would actually go so far as to say I think conflict avoidance is probably the #1 killer of productivity in this world, in our business world. So embracing this and understanding that conflict is not a bad thing if it's healthy conflict, and understanding that as a first point can help. But the first thing to consider is making sure that you have the right people in the right seats. And what I mean by this is making sure that you have people who share your values. They are your people. And there's all sorts of tools, and we've got other videos on this channel on how you figure out the right values. But then there's also the right seats, making sure that they know who they're accountable to and what they're accountable for, and they're great at it. Now, making the assumption that you have great people on your team and they're in the right seats and it's crystal clear on what they're accountable for, those are the big steps. We also have to make sure that they're clear on the vision and where we're going. But the first thing as a leader is making sure that we have the right people in the right seats. If you happen to have somebody who maybe is a great person, but they don't share your values as a leadership team, that person can actually chip away at your organization almost like a cancer. And those are the types of people who are hard to get out, but when you do, it accelerates everything else around you. Now, if you have somebody who's in the wrong seat, maybe the seat's too big, seat's too small, seat's too weird, whatever it may be, that's okay. It's your job as a senior leader to help coach them up. Help them, give them the tools, the resources, whatever it is, and coach them to be great at that seat. Or help them find a different seat to be in. Because if you don't have that person is going to it's going to pull people down in other ways. And sometimes that'll lead to all sorts of conflict that isn't necessarily productive. So let's use some specific examples. Let's say you have a meeting or situation and there's conflict that's developing. Great. I actually love conflict as long as it's a healthy conflict. What I would do is encourage that the people who are participating, who are involved in it, are going to be impacting the decision, make sure they're all in the same room. And then I want you to sit down and ask, all right, so what would success look like for our conversation? Help people understand why we're going where we're going. Now, if somebody's just saying, well, I need to be right, I needs to go my way, well, that person isn't being curious, they're not listening. So let's say, all right, what is the general targeted outcome of where we're going? This is important because otherwise people will get into doom loops of discussion and they'll just keep reiterating their position over and over and over until your head explodes. And that's just a waste of everybody's goddamn time. So instead, as a senior leader, we know we have the right people, they're in the right seats, then we pull them together and we define what does the outcome we're trying to obtain here? What does success look like? Now the third thing is going to be for you to sort of set the game rules and model the behavior you're looking for. And what I mean by this is when we talk about game rules, you can tell, and if somebody's in a conflict and I'm saying something and I don't even barely finish before they're retorting, right or wrong, maybe that person thinks at light speed, but I feel like I've been dismissed and I wasn't heard. So I would encourage that you as the senior leader model this, but also tell them exactly what you're doing. Saying, I want everybody to listen, but listen twice as much as you speak, and listen to be curious and to truly hear and understand the other person's perspective. If people are refusing to do that, slow them down and say, okay, nope, stop. Mike, Steve, I want you guys in this. I want you to reiterate, what did you just hear Mike say? Steve, what did you hear Mike say? And get them to parrot that back, because it's going to start helping understanding where they're at. But as you model that, or you can even do it yourself. You can say, no, stop. Steve, as I understand it, this is what you're saying and this is a perspective you're bringing. Is that correct? No, I meant this. Okay, cool. We're clear now. That helps. Okay, Mike, do you have any questions about that? Great. The thing is a lot of times in conflict, particularly with really healthy teams, I just want to be heard. Now, maybe I don't agree with the other person, and if I'm just trying to get my way, that doesn't work. But if I can genuinely understand that other person's perspective and say, look, it seems like you're walking into a bear trap, and I'm seeing challenges here and here and here and here. If that person even hears me and listens to me and says, God, Kris, I understand that, but I have a different perspective. Okay, if I'm heard, then I'm going to be able to help back that person up. Even if I were disagreed with them, but I was heard, and then I may tease them, I told you I was going to come, but tongue-in-cheek, having a little fun with it. But the idea is, how can we make sure that we're one team, one voice, one vision? So making sure that you empower these people to make sure that everybody's being heard, then there's a spirit of curiosity. Help me understand why you're thinking this. What is the purpose of this? Why are you going that way? Okay, because there may be multiple ways to do something. Some may be right, they may be equally right. But we want to find out what the value or what the motivations are behind it, and keep drilling down to try and understand what's really got somebody nervous. Now, the fourth thing, and this is going to sound almost counterintuitive, but I would encourage it. When I'm working with a leadership team and I'm in a full day strategy session and I see a little bit of conflict going on, oh my God, I love that. I push on it. I encourage, I say, man, that is great. I love you guys are pushing and challenging each other. It's the only way you guys get better. It helps you avoid those blind spots. So what are you thinking here? But just in a positive way. Now, we don't want to encourage negative behaviors. If somebody's being mean or nasty, I jump on that just as hard or harder and stop that and take that out at the knees. But if there are people who are genuinely have the best vested interest in the business and they're trying, all right, hey, let's encourage that. Let's keep pushing to where we have those dust-ups. Because when we can do that, and I feel that I've been able to express my opinion and I was heard, even if I don't win that argument, I'm going to be much more likely to be supportive of the entire team and be around it. The last step, and this sounds silly, but make a decision. When you have conflict, move the ball forward some way, shape, or form. Don't get in a goddamn doom loop of constant discussing it. All right, stop. Okay, how can we move this forward in some way, shape, or form? Mike, Steve, you guys tell me, what is one thing you can do to do a little bit more research to come back and we'll talk about it next time? Or how can you be moving it forward? This is not a bitch session. On that note, if you hear people saying the same thing over and over and over again, stop it. Nope, you've said that, we're not going to rehash it. You don't get to say it 5 times because there's 5 people in the room. What is the perspective? Why are we doing this? So when it comes to how you improve communication and manage conflict as a leader, well, 5 steps. First off, assuming you have the right people in the right seats, make sure you pull them all together. Second, define success. What will success look like for this conversation? What is the problem we're really trying to solve? Where do we want to go with this? Third, model that listening behavior, that spirit of curiosity, listening to hear and be curious, open that maybe you've got some blind spots. Fourth, don't be afraid of encouraging this behavior. It's a good thing. And lastly, whatever it is, make sure you move it forward in some way, shape, or form. So ideally, you found some value with this. Feel free to offer any insights at lifeon-yourterms.com. Love to hear from you. Subscribe to the channel. Check us out. Keep smiling.